would you like to be out of Arkham right now and given a chance to take revenge on Batman?
You know, Kevin, back in my day, we had the one Lego, and it was one size. we stacked that one Lego onto the one other Lego that like our neighbor had, and that was all that we had with Legos.
Legos have grown really complicated.
If you go to like Walmart, that shit is crazy.
Yeah, you're not kidding. Even with these games, though, not a lot of Lego building in the Lego game.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. We're talking about Lego Batman. So we got Lego Batman 2. DC Superheroes at the subtitle on that,
right?
Which is the latest in the. I mean, you know what? I'm honestly amazed that Traveler's Tales keeps put Lego. This shit is like Dynasty Warriors in the West. They keep making these games. And there's kind of incremental improvements. There's difference between the different franchises, but.
Romance of the Lego Kingdom. Yeah.
They keep cranking them out, and people keep buying them, except for the last Batman Lego game, which was, from what I hear, not the best.
Terrible, right.
So anyway, it's Lego Batman 2, DC Superheroes. The story here involves Lex Luthor and the Joker, teaming up, and you've got Batman and Superman, and they're kind of teaming up to fight the two of them. And the lion's share of the game takes place in Gotham City, but there's also a couple levels in Metropolis. And if you have played any Lego game on the planet, you're pretty much going to know how this game plays from the get-go.
Yeah, they're all pretty much kind of the same. I mean, but it's cool that they work in all of the different characters and everything, and they have the weird sets. I mean, there's a novelty to these games that makes it sort of fun to look at a little bit. I'm not so sure that they're that fun to play, but I'm old. I think that the target audience for these games is probably perfect.
Yeah, I mean, in fact, this is one. I guess one of the notable things here is that Lego Batman 2, unless I'm mistaken, I think this is what I've looked up, is the first game where the characters have dialogue.
Right, where they talk.
Yeah, like in all the previous games, it was just they kind of doing silly hand motions or doing kind of pantomime to kind of get the story across. And this is the first one where they actually, they open their little Lego mouths and start talking. And they have, it looks like, from what I hear, there was a focus test where they polled a bunch of kids and adult gamers, and they said to all of them, should these Legos start talking? And all of the adults said, the hell with that? No, this is fine. And all the kids said, absolutely, I want to hear Legos talk. And so, here we go. Talking Legos.
Talking Legos.
But
I want some of these Legos. Are these Legos actually in sets? Can I buy like the Robin helicopter and all that sort of stuff? Can you get like a little Batman a guy? Is there like whole action play sets of that? Or is this world just created particularly for the video games? I can't get a Joker or a Riddler guy or anything like that.
I think that the Lego Incorporated or whoever the hell it is, they would be fools. I mean, because the games are essentially just toy commercials. Like, people used to talk about, right. Transformers is just a big toy commercial. Dude, you hadn't seen shit yet. But, back to the talking in this game, it's funny because they have Batman and the Joker and Superman and Lex Luthor and all this stuff, but they don't have the people who do those voices. Like, it's these very much like sound-alikes. Like, the guy who plays Batman it's not Kevin Conroy, and the Joker is not Mark Hamill, but it's some dude, and he's doing his God-given best to sound like Mark Hamill. He's just trying as hard as he can to be Mark Hamill.
Are you really that disappointed that it's not, Kevin Conroy playing Batman when you get this game? I mean, is that really going to turn people off? Are they going to be like, oh, I can't believe the Batman Lego game let me down.
No,
with the voice acting.
No, definitely not. I guess the thing is that it was weird because I've played so much of like Arkham Asylum, Arkham City. I've watched the old cartoons where I know what Kevin Conroy Batman sounds like. I know what Mark Hamill Joker sounds like, and when you hear the Joker in here talking, you're just like, is that? No. Like it's like they went out and got the generic brand Joker. Yeah. It's not quite the same as that name brand Joker that I've come to love so much. But this game, extremely similar to previous Lego games. You're going through a level. I guess the only thing that's different, maybe Kevin, you can talk about this a little bit, is it seems like the primary thing that the Batman and Robin characters in this game, they all have suits. There's different suits that you pick up. Whereas I seem to remember most of the previous Lego games, it was like you just had a set of abilities on each character, then you would actually have to pull out like a whole different character in order to get the abilities that you needed to kind of like traverse through different parts of the level.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. And then the suits here, they're basically like having different equipment to do different things, and they've sort of dumbed it down in a way, though, because you're really not, it's really not that difficult or anything to figure out what you got to do. I mean, there was a couple of times, though, when I was playing it where, like, I became the acrobatic Robin, and there's that part where Two-Face is shooting at you, and there's these people running out of the sides of the stairs. And, for what it is, this segment is actually really well done. There's these cameras looking for you, and if you get too close to the door is closed. And, there's these people running out of this theater, and that theater was really packed because I stood there for a long time. And those people just kept coming out of it. And eventually I figured out what I had to do because, I had to assemble something in order for Batman to get up there, too. But meanwhile, I was just like, fuck Batman, man. I'm going to try and do this all myself, and I wasn't able to do it. So you have to work in, as a partnership with the different people in order to progress in the game. And I think that makes it actually more interesting than at first glance when you look at a game like this. Because at first you might think it's just like a standard platformer type of game and everything, but there's actually, for kids especially, you have to put some thought into this. Otherwise, you're just not going to progress in the game.
Hell with kids, man. There are a couple places in the game where I was just like, what do you want out of me, Lego? Like, I've tried putting together everything here, but I can't seem to progress. Yeah, there's a few. If there was one kind of major complaint I guess I had about the game was there were a couple points in the game where what you were supposed to do just was not obvious. And this game does absolutely nothing to point you in the right direction. Like, the game is perfectly content to let you just fucking sit on the same screen for 20 minutes.
I was totally waiting, like, sitting there at one point thinking, is something going to happen? Like, is something going to flash? Or is, like, an arrow going to point where I'm supposed to go? But nothing. Yeah. Like, you just totally have to try and figure it out.
I guess, maybe the only other thing about the suits, I guess, is that within the first, it's maybe like 2 hours of the game, they kind of introduce you to a bunch of the different suits that Batman and Robin use. And so there's like a power suit that'll let you blow up certain types of bricks. There's like an electricity suit. There's like the bat suit, which is
invisibility.
Yeah. But the thing is that for each one of those guys, there's only like 4, maybe 5 suits, and they don't introduce more of those as the game goes on. So in the first few levels, you see all the suits that you're going to have, and I guess I kind of kept waiting for them to pull out, like, here's the raccoon tail suit that lets you fly. And it was like, and here's a Hammer Brothers suit, and it was like, no, just you got these 4, and those are the only ones. But there
are a lot of cameo characters in the game, like consistently, wouldn't you say? Like apparently Green Lantern, right?
Yeah, without, I don't suppose anybody who's listening to our review of a Lego game is going to be like, you spoiled Legos for me. So
it's on the box. I mean, it tells you on the box.
The thing is that I feel like this game was a little bit is not named correctly, because it should be called Lego Batman 2, Lego Batman and Superman, except in the last 2 levels of the game, because it's only the last 2 Lego levels of the game where the Justice League finally comes in and you get to use the Flash and Cyborg and Wonder Woman and stuff like that. Now, after you've beat the game, you can basically hold down this button, you pull up the entire roster, and at will just switch out different people on your team. Then you can use the little Lego bits that you collect over the course of the game to buy new characters, like modifiers that give you like 4 times as many of the Lego bits that you're collecting.
Amazingly, Legos are currency. I never knew that growing up as a kid. I never knew that I could go, like, say, buy ice cream from the ice cream man with my Lego pile. Because apparently you gather all these Legos, and while I'm playing these games, and this goes back to even the first ones, I'm thinking I'm going to get to, like, build something at some point. It's going to take me to a mode, and it's going to be like, now add things to Batman's Batmobile or something. And you do build. You basically hold the circle button over things, and it assembles stuff. But at no point while I was playing, I mean, maybe there's some secret mode, Jeff, that you got into, but I never got to some construction kit where I got to build something out of Legos.
No, and the closest thing I think that you get to that is like in each one of the levels, there's like a series of like little hidden objects that you can pick up. It's just like a little brick with the Batman logo on it, and for every one of those you get, it'll essentially build another piece of like a new vehicle. So, I mean, one of the big conceits in this game that I think is different from a lot of the other Lego games is that you have this Lego Gotham City to drive through, that you could drive
like an open world.
Yeah, and dude, Lego Gotham City, that place is messed up because it seems like everyone's just constantly running around the streets, and there's bombs and hammers and shit everywhere. And I mean, I was driving the Batmobile down the street, I hit a button, it started shooting guns, it started blowing up pedestrians, and I was like, wow, Batman is hardcore. But, you know, when you play the game, it's pretty easy to kind of get from one point to the other. But once you've beaten it, there's like a bunch of hidden characters. You know, I found General Zod, which, you know, I picked Lego Zod up.
That's kind of cool, yeah.
And drove him around and said, you know, kneel before Zod. The only thing, I guess, the other thing is, you know, they give you Superman kind of about the mid-game. You get Superman kind of in your party with Batman and Robin, and Superman is invincible to bullets. So the game becomes less about taking damage and more about just like trying to solve these puzzles, which is maybe where the focus should be for a game that's kind of aimed more for a younger set.
You die, but you never really run out of lives, right? Because,
yeah.
I mean, I died so many times at that one point just trying to try things to see what I had to do, and I realized that there's no, I mean, unless it's some super high quota of lives that I was never reaching.
You lose a percentage of the number of little Lego bits that you've collected. So you don't want to do it because you want to keep those bits because you want to use them to buy stuff. But I mean, I think that even in the previous Lego games, there's like little modifiers that you could turn on, and one of them, if you find it, is just like, hey, you're invincible. Like, fuck it, we don't care. You know, go play the game. Which is kind of interesting. I mean, you know, how many games out there are able to make a gameplay that's compelling simply on the basis of collection rather than combat or some kind of feeling of like overcoming an enemy. It's like no. Enemies, they're worthless and who cares? But like finding another thing that I could put together to get another, you know, 20,000 of the little Lego coins, that's really more of what you're going for in this particular game.
Would you say, like, from what I understand, the 3DS and the PlayStation Vita actually have, you know, they have this game, and what's missing from it is the open world and the vehicles. Mm-hmm. Do you think that takes away from it? Somebody looking at the purchase, would they sit there and say, you know, do I want those things, you know, or can I just get it on my handheld?
Well, I don't know, kind of. I mean, like, if you had a choice, I think that the open world is really what adds replayability to the game, because the campaign is not ridiculously long. It's maybe a 10-hour investment. And once you get done with that, I mean, yeah, you could take new characters back into those old stages and try to find some of the secrets that you've missed. But really, part of the thing that makes this game interesting is being able to go around this crazy Lego Gotham City and find secrets and unlock little new pieces and new characters and stuff like that. So I think that, I mean, if you had a choice, you could definitely stick to the PS3 360 version. But, you know, I can still imagine the game has worth without that stuff. It's definitely going to detract from the overall value of the title.
Yeah, right.
Which is, I think, you know, and the other thing I was thinking about is when I was playing this game, I noticed that, so, you know, they have Lego Batman and they have Superman, they have the Justice League and stuff like this, and it's funny because when the music in the game, like the Batman music is the music from the old Danny Elfman stuff from the Tim Burton Batman, and like the Superman music is the John Williams music from the Christopher Reeve Superman. But these characters don't really, like, this isn't Arkham Asylum Batman, and it's not the animated series Batman, and it's not the Tim Burton Batman, it's not the Christopher Nolan Batman. Like, I think that one of the things I was thinking while I was playing the game was that so many of those other Lego games, like, you get joy out of them because you're seeing something familiar to you in a movie as Legos.
Yeah,
so like
right,
in Harry Potter, you've got Lego Hogwarts, and you're just like, holy shit, this is great. Lego guys on the wall, like Lego, Harry Potter this, Lego Harry Potter that. Whereas here, this is such an original property that I think that it might lose a little bit of luster just because people don't have that movie side to kind of latch on to.
Yeah, I think that's a fair. Although there's characters in there. I mean, I agree, though. I mean, I don't know. Is the Dark Knight for kids? I mean, at some point, I guess they have to go back to the traditional Batman and Robin type of thing. But, yeah, it is sort of... I get what you're saying. I don't read the comic books, so I can't really tell you, if this particular timeline of Batman or whatever it is we're looking at is recent, current. I have no idea.
So, Kevin, is this new? Is this New 52? Is this after No Man's Land? Is this pre-Bane? I mean, where does this fit into the continuity? That's what I really want to know.
That's right. That's what I'm saying. I have no idea. It's Batman. That much I know. They have little inside jokes and things. Robin's trying to get credit and things, and Batman ignores them and all that sort of stuff.
Poor Robin. I thought Batman in Arkham City was a dick to Robin. This Lego Batman may be the biggest bat dick ever. Like, Superman keeps coming down to try to help him out, and he's just like, no, I don't like that guy. Fuck that guy. Fuck Superman. Get him out of here. So, I guess the only other thing to maybe talk about, I don't know, is there anything in particular that we've been talked about that you want to bring up for this?
Were there any multiplayer aspects to this game?
It's only local. Like, you could play local with a friend, like on the couch. So it's got that Lego thing where, like, if you're on the same screen, but if you get too far away from each other, it splits the screen, and then there's a big line down the middle, and it kind of.
Oh, well, that's good. Yeah, that's cool. I thought that's what it was. But, I mean, I didn't have somebody there to play with, and the thing is that, while you're playing the game single player, you're constantly with the two characters, and you're switching between them, etc.
Yeah.
And so I felt that was probably how it worked, but yeah, you confirmed it for me.
Kind of the only problem with multiplayer is that a lot of those puzzles are kind of geared for like a single player experience where you're switching back and forth between the characters. So you can run into situations in multiplayer where, like, one person is allowed into this area, the other person is just sitting there waiting for them to, like, find a ladder or unlock something. Just like, come on, man. I played this on the 360. I don't know what platform.
PlayStation 3.
PlayStation 3. Okay. I had at least one pretty serious bug in the game.
Oh, really?
Where whenever I finished this one mission, the game would just lock up on a cutscene. It wouldn't go any further, and I actually I tried the mission 3 times, and I had to, like, turn my Xbox off, turn it back on again, reload the game, and I was able to get through it then. And that was kind of the only thing I had, but it was, I've heard some issues with some of the other Lego games. That was the only problem that I had here. I don't know. Did you see anything when you were playing?
No, I mean, overall, it worked fine for me. I had no issues. I mean, nothing that screamed bug. I had some bugs in previous games, but this is for being a brawler and you're running around into every possible corner where you might get a clipping error or something like that. I mean, I thought that that they did a pretty good job on keeping it pretty solid in terms of gameplay, and cutscenes didn't have any issues for me.
Okay. You know what? I will say this. Traveler's Tales, if you're listening, because I'm sure everybody at Traveler's Tales, big fans of the loading bar. Dude, you guys can put some invisible walls in this game if you want to. Like, they are more than happy to let you just jump off the edge of whatever and totally get killed. I've got to a point in the game where I got my character stuck somewhere and I had to exit and then, like, come back into where my friend was, and it spawned me back closer to them. Because I was trying to jump somewhere and I got caught in a place where there was no way to get out of it. I was just screwed. So what? I mean, what do you think? At the end of the day, what do you think, rating wise?
Again, I don't know if a guy that's my age is really going to be captured by a game like this. Maybe a big Batman fan would, but I think that if you're buying it for your kids, it's a great purchase. So I want to say that I think it's worth full price. But it's for a target audience, and you have to think of it that way. So full price for me.
Yeah, I could not agree with you more. I think that it's definitely a well-made game. I think that people who are fans of Lego, or people who are fans, or kids who are fans of the Lego games, or people who are big fans of this particular style of game, are going to like it. I think it's right up on par with all the rest of that stuff. But if you're like a big fan of Arkham Asylum and you're like, I need something to tide me over until the next Batman game, I don't know if this is really going to be the thing for you. So yeah, I give it it's also only $50. So I mean, that in and of itself is also a pretty good deal. So yeah, I give it a full price. Just know what you're getting into before you get in there, Batman fans. Of course, you know what I will say. This game would have been Jason Murphy's Game of the Year if they had like some kind of modifier that lets you turn the Legos into regular people. Because Batman is just like ripping people apart and running over them. Like, if this game had Lego blood in it, it would be the most violent fucking video game I've ever seen.
Where does he get these unbreakable toys?